executive session.
Okay, if we're ready back there in the booth, Mr. Gage, staff ready, I will call to order this today's meeting, May 8th, of the Salina City Commission. Could we have a call to order and a roll call?
Mayor Crawford. Commissioner Blanchard.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here. Commissioner
Hodges. Here. Vice Mayor Ryan.
Here. Would you please stand with me for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Awards and proclamations.
Item 3.1, the week of May 7th through 13th, 2017 is National Travel and Tourism Week in the city of Salina. Hank Boyer, Chair of the Convention and Tourism Advisory Committee, will read the proclamation.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Whereas travel has a positive impact on the U.S., Kansas, and Salina, and the nation's economic prosperity and image abroad, it also impacts business productivity and individuals' travelers' well-being. Whereas travel as an industry is a pillar of economic growth, creating jobs at a faster rate than other sectors. Whereas tourism supported tax revenues in 2015 surpassed $1 billion and included $588 million in state and local government revenues. Whereas travel to and within Kansas provides significant economic benefits for the state, it also generated more than $10.4 billion in economic impact in 2015, with $6.5 billion spent directly by travelers. Whereas travel is among the top 10 private sector employers in Kansas, it is supporting 94,000 jobs in 2015, including 63,000 directly in the travel industry and 31,000 in other industries. Whereas visitors spent $197 million in Saline County in 2015, growing 6.7% over the prior year, whereas visitor spending in Saline County ranks 6th among all counties in the state. Whereas tourism in Saline County generated $28.5 million in tax revenues in 2015, with $17.1 million accruing to state and local governments. Whereas tourism spending directly supports 1,971 jobs in Saline County, with overall visitor-supported economic activity supporting nearly 2,600 jobs, 1 out of every 11.6 jobs in Saline County. Whereas leisure travel, which accounts for more than 60% of all trips taken in Kansas, spurs countless benefits to travelers' wellness, creativity, cultural awareness, education, and overall quality of life. Now, therefore, I, Vice Mayor Carl Ryan, do hereby proclaim May 7 through 13, 2017 as National Travel and Tourism Week in Salina and urge the citizens of Salina to join me in this special observance.
Thank you, Ms. Boyer. I'll bet you've got some programs or events you'd like to tell us about.
I bet we do, too, and I'm going to let Sylvia Rice tell you.
Thanks, Hank. Vice Mayor and Commissioners. This year, we're really trying to concentrate on getting the word out about tourism. It's an industry that reaches many, many facets of business, far beyond just the hotels and the restaurants. And so what we've done is we've placed ads in the Salina Journal all week celebrating what we're calling the smiling faces of Salina tourism, the smiles of Salina tourism. So you'll see lots of folks doing what it is that they do to welcome our guests in the Journal. Also online, we'll be doing it on our social media as well. In addition to that, we're doing radio shows all week, not just our staff, but also our partners. So you're going to hear from us, from Salina Parks and Recreation, from Tony's Pizza Event Center, from lots of our partners talking about what tourism does for their specific business. So I would tell you to tune in morning and afternoon on Rockingham Radio for that. This week is the 34th annual National Travel and Tourism Week. It is twofold for us. It's to recognize those folks that work so hard to represent our community in the tourism industry, and it's also to help educate the general public about just how important it is to our economy. Any questions?
You got a place for a happy undertaker in any of those pictures?
Absolutely. happy is the key word there.
We actually do generate quite a bit of traffic in the
Absolutely.
community.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We did bring swag along, so we have a little something for you each. Shandy promised to keep Mayor Crawford's in safekeeping until she was back.
Oh, wow. Oh, favorite color. Thank you.
We are kicking off a summer promotion all about smiles. We had a secret shop last spring, and it was fairly positive across the board. The one thing that the consultant said was, gosh, people just didn't smile enough. And so our whole promotion this summer is going to be Salina. There's a lot to smile about, and so you can join in. I can't believe that Commissioner Blanchard, I knew you'd go for the sunglasses right away. So thank you all. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
We have a signed proclamation for you. Hank, you wear so many hats. Thank you for doing that. The next item is Citizens Forum. Is there anybody that'd like to address the commission on any subject that interests them? There being none, no. We have no public hearings and items scheduled for a certain time, so we'll move to the consent agenda.
Item 6.1, approve the minutes of May 1st, 2017. 6.2, approve resolution number 17-7452, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Hooper Sound Production Services Incorporated to provide sound services at the 2017 Smoky Hill River Festival. 6.3, authorize Vice Mayor to approve the supplemental agreement number 4 for consulting services related to the former Schilling Air Force Base site with the Dragon Corporation, cost to amend from $6,916,000 to $7,023,000, and amend specialty contractors' cost from $2,355,000 to $2,248,000. 6.4, approve resolution number 17-7453, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the First Tee, Saline County, Kansas, Incorporated for reimbursement of a full-time employee. And item 6.5, award contract for minor concrete pavement rehabilitation project number 70010C to Bob Davis Construction and the amount of $22,466.91 with a 10% construction contingency.
That is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any of the commissioners would like to remove for discussion? There being none, is there a motion?
I would move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda passes. There is no administration. There is no development business. Under other business, we have a request for executive session, but Mr. Blanchard, did you have something you wanted to?
Yes.
Throw in there.
Thank you. I do. I just wanted to enter into the record, and I'll make a copy available to the clerk. Just a page that I've got entitled here, Special Assessment Policy Highlights. What it is that we just had a special assessment, another special assessment meeting on in our study session. And prior to this, and for quite some time, I've been working on trying to come up with some sort of policy that integrates the comprehensive plan, our strategic plan, and the housing study that we've done. So let me just read a few highlights of this proposed plan, and before I do that, I just want to acknowledge staff for a lot of the work they've put in on these special assessments, and while we struggle from time to time to figure out how to best score and rate and determine what our policy ought to be, we've kind of, as a board, lagged behind really putting together a solid policy. So I'm hoping that while this resolution that I've drafted is in no way in any sort of final form. I hope that it might help to serve as some sort of framework that we can do. And as a policy-making person and an elected official, quite frankly, I think from time to time some of these responsibilities do fall on our shoulders. And so I've kind of taken the opportunity to maybe get the ball rolling. So let me just mention a couple of highlights here, and I have copies for fellow commissioners here, if you wouldn't mind passing that down. I'm just going to briefly go over that. And the policy I'm hoping to get developed here is in conjunction with the 2010 Comprehensive Plan, Salina Shared Vision Statement, which is our strategic plan, and the 2015 Live Salina Housing Study, and which we received feedback from Salina home builders and the community on those. Policy also takes into consideration policies from other cities throughout the state of Kansas. This one in particular looks at the assessment policy recently enacted by the city of Topeka. The policy is to help provide financial protection to the taxpayers in order to ensure development costs are completely borne by the improvement districts. Development occurs as the needs arise, and consistency is maintained with growth and development policies, and that sustainable development occurs. A couple of the highlights that this looks at is, and this may play to what we talked about earlier in the room over there, I kind of look at, I really think that our qualified base selection process for consultants, I think, is a really good process. And so one of the parts of this policy would be the creation of a benefit district committee to review plans and make recommendations to the governing body. And I would anticipate that happening prior to that first meeting, so that the governing body can then have a recommendation from that committee. The benefit district committee would be comprised of the city manager, director of finance, planning director, public works director, director of parks and recreation, and the city engineer. The committee will meet as applications are received. There's a financial due diligence portion that addresses outstanding tax obligations, financial statements, and documenting ownership and control of the land. Provisions in there to make sure that on an annual basis the special assessments don't fall behind to where we get in a situation where 3 years down the line we're looking at a default. And then also that a cost benefit and or fiscal analysis be conducted by the finance department. Other parts that remain pretty much the same are some of the financial sureties that are required, from the deposits to the letters of credit and so on. Two other important things, I think it establishes a residential incentives matrix that helps to provide predictable levels of financing from developers and staff. It also helps to direct housing into the price points that are desired and locations that are desired in the community, and offers bonuses for such things as amenities, clustering, and open space trails that help to provide connectivity. Another aspect of this that I think would help us do a better job as a governing body in applying these incentives is that if it would require an annual report and review of the projects, so that we can judge the policy by a set metrics on this. That's all in the first section. The second section basically is that the city will allow for financing of street improvements, internal water and line improvements, sewer improvements, and greenfield residential developments upon determination of participation rates, and is stipulated in a development agreement conforming to Section 1 of the policy. So I'm just hoping that maybe we can get to a point where the process is a lot more predictable for everybody. Like I said, I'll give you a copy of that, but those are just some highlights of that. And I appreciate the study session today. I appreciate the home builders and the development community for being a part of this process. But I think we need to look at long-term sustainability and make sure that we're implementing our comp plan and our housing study in the best way possible, and as a governing body, I'd prefer that we weren't kind of all over the board on trying to determine what those incentives might be and really utilize our professional staff in a much more, in a way that's actually more beneficial to us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have a request for executive session?
Yes, we do. Mr. Mayor, I move to recess into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss with legal counsel matters subject to the attorney-client privilege for the reason that public discussion of those matters would waive the privilege and adversely affect the city's interest in the matters, and reconvene at 4:35.
4:35.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Are we anticipating any action? No?
We are not.
Yeah.